Hello, YouTubers and subscribers, and to anybody that cares. This is StephenWorldwide with another edition of Walk and Talk. That's right, I'm just going to say this is a walk and talk video whenever I'm doing these blogs on my way to work. Simple, maybe unoriginal, but who cares? Alright, what am I talking about today? Just going to talk about my work situation, my contract, and what I'm doing here in Japan right now. Alright, so I got this job. First of all, I found this job on the internet. I went to a portal called Gaijin Pot. I think that was it. I went to 2 or 3 different job hunting sites. I did not go to Dave's ESL. And really quickly, Dave's ESL, I'm not a big fan of Dave's ESL for a couple reasons. Number one, it's the biggest website in the world for finding English teaching jobs. That means that there's tons of competition. There's tons of people sending their resumes into the jobs that you see on Dave's ESL or ESL Cafe. It used to be Dave's ESL Cafe, and now it's just eslcafe.com. So everybody in the world that's looking for an ESL teaching job goes to Dave's ESL Cafe. So that's why I don't like using that to find jobs. The other reason is 90% of those the job postings you see on there are, those are recruiters. So the job says like high paying job in China, for example, is the headline. When you click on it, it's an agency that just wants your resume and everything so that they can place you at a school. Not to say that some of those jobs are bad. Some of them are good, but you're rolling the dice with those companies. You don't know if they just want to put you into any school just so that they can make their commission off of you. And then you end up in a school that kind of sucks. And maybe the recruiter knew that it's not the best school, but they just put you in there anyway. So you don't know. My first experience with a recruiter, it was a mixed bag. The first guy I had was a nice guy. And it was weird because he asked me what I want. I said I want to get a teaching job in Korea, but I won't be ready for another year. And he just said to me, that's very strange. Most people call me like they want to come to Korea that week. They want to get there right away. And I just told him I have a lot of business going on. I'm busy with work and stuff, but I'll be ready like next spring. And he goes, all right. And then he would touch base with me like once a month, and I'll give him credit for that. But then he handed me off to another recruiter. And when I was ready to start working, I called that recruiter and went with them, and they did a good job for me. They placed me in Gwangju, and they placed me at that school that I told you all about already. And the guy found out about it and was upset because I don't think he got any money from it, even though he got in touch with me first and was in touch with me for like 6 or 7 or 8 months before I took the job a year later. And yeah, that's evidence. They placed me at that school, but to their credit, that school had been a good Hakwan. It had been a good private school for years. And it was sinking and going under when they hired me, but the recruiter didn't know about that. They couldn't know about that. The guy told me that Gwangju is a great school. I mean, it's a great city for foreigners. They enjoy living there. The living is great there. And the recruiter, she was right. The girl that helped me, her name was Crystal. And you know what's funny was, I ended up going to, when I went to Korea, I kept in touch with her. Usually you don't keep in touch with the recruiter. But this girl that helped me was really cool. And I ended up meeting her, and I'm still friends with her. I still keep in touch with her on Kakao Talk. I say hi to her like once a year or something like that. Nice girl. And also she hooked me up with one of her friends who owns a Hakwan, and I got private work from her. So that was great. Dave's ESL Cafe. Yeah, so I used Gaijin Pot. There are certain, if you're looking for a job for a certain country, and you do a Google search for that country. and you'll get better websites. And I applied on a website, I think it was called Gaijin Pot, for a company called Westgate. And Westgate is a company like a recruiter that they bring teachers and they place them into universities and schools. And I requested that I wanted to work at university, and I got it. At orientation, they said that they got hundreds of emails, but those 70 or 75 teachers they picked, made the cut. So I made the cut. It was great. And then we had an orientation, and they trained us how the teaching goes, the teaching style for the company. And it was really great because it was teaching just like what I learned at CELTA when I did my certification to be an English teacher. It was really great. So now I'm teaching exactly how I want to teach at a school that I want to be at, a university, and very happy with that. So I signed a contract. Here's the thing about this job. And I don't think this is normal. Usually you sign a 1-year contract where you work, but this job is a 3-month contract. So it's just for 1 season, 1 semester. And it's I'm not really happy about the situation where you have to buy a round-trip ticket and the company has to approve it. It has to be through a travel agency that the company works with, which I think is a little bit of a racket. I actually went online and I found my flight before the agency did. I was in touch with the agency through email, and I sent them the reservation, and they looked at it and said, "Oh, this is a good one. Okay, you should get this one." And then they flipped it around and sent it to me. I had to buy it plus an extra $20 for their service. So $20 is not a big deal, but the problem is this. I know that I want to stay in Japan after the contract is done. Either renew, stay with a company, or find a new job. You have to buy a return trip ticket. It's part of the visa so that they know that you can get home when your contract is done. Since it's such a short time, since it's just a 3-month contract. So knowing that, I told them, I said, what if I want to cancel this flight back and stay in Japan? And they said, you have to pay a fee. And I looked at the fine. It was like $250 plus some other penalty. It could be over $300. And I said, this is bullshit, because I'm going to have to pay this. They said there's nothing you can do. So that's baked into the price of coming here. Just pretend it's like an extra $150 each way for the ticket. The company also reimbursed me about 80% of how much it costs to fly here. So it wasn't, completely bad. They pay up to $1,200, but the ticket will end up being about $1,500. All right, so what am I going to do after the 3 months is done? It's hard to believe, but I'm like 33%, like 35% finished with this, with the time. As far as the lessons go, I teach 50 lessons, so 50 days, and I'm on lesson 20, 22, 20, 21, or 22. I'll find out today. I think it's 21. So I'm almost halfway there. It's amazing how fast time flies. I think I'm going to stay. I think I will stay another season, another semester, which runs from October, November, December, I believe, roughly. They call it the fall semester. I'm here in the summer, but they call this a spring semester, which is May, June, and July. So I'm done here at the end of July. I have to fly back to USA. And then buy a ticket and come back and do this all over again. It's kind of a bummer. I'd rather stay, but it's going to cost me extra money. I have to decide whether I want to spend the money, cancel that ticket, stay. There's a big gap. There's like a 2-month gap between seasons, and I don't get paid for that. So perhaps I'll do some private teaching for cash. That's an option. I'm not 100% sure, but I have to tell them this week. So I'm probably going to opt to stay because this commute to work that you see me doing every day is ideal. And it's the only one in the company. This company has like 60 schools. I might be the only one, and my other teachers that work here, we might be the only ones to have a 15-minute commute, a pleasant walk to work. So Those are the little things you learn to appreciate as you get older. When I was younger, I would have wanted something different and always thinking the grass is greener on the other side. But as I taught and worked a lot of different jobs, it's the little things that you start to think about that mean more than making a little bit more money or living a little bit closer to where people drink beer in a big city. So I'm pretty happy here. This is a good job. The company name, it's no problem. You can look on the internet and read about this company. The school that they placed me at has to stay confidential, so I can't tell you that or any more details about my contract, how much I'm getting paid. The pay is pretty good. It's not that great. I think it's kind of standard, but they take every month, they take the rent out, so it doesn't pay for my apartment. So it's not that great once they deduct the cost of the apartment and the utilities and everything. Then it ends up being kind of just a, when you do the math, it works out to something like 20 bucks an hour, which was half of what I was making in Korea. And I go into school, I get there by 9, and my last class is done at 6:20. So I get home around, let's say I get home around 7. Those are a lot of hours to be at the school, and I'm not working the whole time. I'm teaching about 6 classes a day at 40 minutes a class. 6 classes plus an EC. I do a class called English Challenge, and that is kind of like a free period where the classroom's open and anybody can walk in and sit down with me and do an English activity or have conversation with me. And I might have one student per day that does that. Very happy at this job. And it's a great start for university. This is my first university teaching job. And the other option I have with this company is to work accredited courses. Right now I'm doing extracurricular. So these are students that have paid extra that want to study English. The company also has accredited courses, and those are like core classes that are part of students what they have to take. So I was told that a lot of the students don't want to do English. They don't want to take English because it's not their choice on some of them. Or the classes might be big, like 30 or 40 students in a class. Part of me thinks I need to take that job because I need to challenge myself and I need to have that experience for when I work at a university full-time for a year and get classes like that. But the other half is like, dude, you love this job, you walk to work, it's very comfortable. You can handle another 3 months here and worry about getting a university job next year. So I think I'm leaning towards the complacency and staying put of where I am right now, rather than get moved out of this apartment I live in. That's another thing. I can't buy a lot of stuff in my apartment. I can't buy furniture and stuff, or I shouldn't. Because in another 6 weeks when I'm gone, it's all gonna have to go out to the trash. Or the few friends I've made so far, call them up and say, hey, you want some free kitchenware or whatever it is that I buy. I went to Ikea yesterday for the first time. I went to Ikea when I was a little kid, so I don't remember it, in Newark, New Jersey. But I went to Ikea here in Saitama, Japan, and it was awesome. I mean, it's like I didn't know it was a full-fledged restaurant. I thought it was like a little cafe or something inside there. But you go in there and there's like hundreds of tables. And they have it's like a cafeteria line with a big menu of different food. They had fish and chips. They had like baked salmon on top of yellow rice. They had, it looked like prime rib, like small prime rib cuts of steak. What did we get? They had curry and fish and the Swedish meatballs. All sorts of stuff. And then we went shopping around looking at the furniture. So I was meeting somebody new and it worked out very well. We had a good time. So yeah, Ikea was pretty cool. I didn't spend any money. I bought a towel and a candle, something like that, and that was it. So yeah, back to this job with Westgate. It's great. I'm likely going to renew and do this again. through December. Unfortunately, I have to get out of the apartment, go back to USA, come back, probably live in the same building but different apartment. I can't control where they place me. I can only ask, and then they place me wherever they decide. I get first priority because I've already worked here, and they konnichiwa. And I just hope that they've reviewed me already and seen my lessons, so they know I'm pretty good. I don't think that's a problem. So, all right, here I am. I'm at school. I think that's enough. I can't show much more than that. All right, thanks for watching the video about my current job and situation. If I didn't answer some questions about what I'm doing, put some questions in the comments, and I'd love to get ideas for future videos to just to help you out, to give you some information that might help you in your ESL teaching journey. That's why I make these videos. Half the reason is to tell my story of what's going on in my life. The other half is to inform and help you out, answer your questions on the way. So tune in again for some more. Subscribe to this channel, hit the like button, hit the bell so you can see my updates, and I'll see you in the next video.